Hare Krishna, Pranam dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Let's start with Kirtan. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी आस्वत्यादिशितायिनि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपदा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल Hare Krishna, Pranam dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. So let's
हरे
continue.
कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Mataji, Hare Bol.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Bol.
हरे
We are on
कृष्णा।
the 24th chapter.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी। हरे
The 24th chapter, we will try to complete this chapter today because we've completed till 3:30 yesterday, I believe. Mataji has completed. So we start with 3:31 and total there are 355 verses in this chapter. So let's try to complete. There are a few verses where the purports are quite long. So we'll just read the important points. I mean, the whole purport is very important, but we'll try to pick a few points so that we are able to maintain the speed of the reading. Okay.
मध्य
So
कांडा माता जी, मध्य कांडा ना।
yes, Mataji, Madhya Lila, 24th chapter, 331 onwards, we'll read today. Let's start. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद Hare Krishna. So in this section, Lord Chaitanya is explaining to Sanatan Goswami, when Sanatan Goswami was given this instruction by Lord Chaitanya to write, then he is expressing that he is not qualified. Out of his humility, he is saying that, what can I write? And he is begging for blessings of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya is explaining to him, he's giving him different points on about which he can write in his book. So that is what we'll continue reading about today. And yesterday's section, it was the importance of Guru, and we'll read about that further. And then the section will come about deity worship. How what the regulations are for deity worship, what offenses we need to avoid when we are doing deity worship, and also offenses towards the deity. Even if we are not directly doing the deity worship, but in front of the deities, what should our behavior be like? What are the things that we need to avoid? That those points from nectar of devotion will also come, and then the different items of worship that are to be offered to the deities, that will come, then our interaction with devotees. So it's a very beautiful section, and let's try to continue reading. So would someone like to read? You can just raise your hand if you want to read. Yeah, Sumati Mataji, please read, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. मंत्र अधिकारी मंत्र सिद्धि आदि शोधना दीक्षा प्राथ स्मृति कृत्या शौच आचमना. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. You should discuss the qualifications necessary for receiving a mantra, the perfection of the mantra, the purification of the mantra, initiation, morning duties, remembrance of the Supreme Lord, cleanliness, and washing the mouth and other parts of the body. Purport. Should I read,
Mataji,
Mataji?
I'll read points from the purport, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mataji.
So Mahaprabhu is telling that what all, he's giving pointers, he is giving seed ideas to Sanatan Goswami on which he can write his book. And Sanatan Goswami's book is Hari Bhakti Vilas. So Prabhupada is explaining us points from Hari Bhakti Vilas, that first of all about mantra adhikari, the qualifications necessary for receiving a mantra. What is the qualification of a person who can get mantra initiation? And this verse is mentioned, which the meaning is that Shudras and women who are chaste and sincerely interested in understanding the absolute truth are qualified to be initiated with the Pancharatrika mantras. So there is Pancharatrika Vidhi, and also there is the Vedika Vidhi. In Vedika Vidhi, it is there is a lot of strictness. Only Brahmins are allowed, women are not allowed to do many things. But in the Pancharatrika Vidhi, there is a totally different, view altogether. And there the focus is that anyone who is a devotee, who is sincere, they can get initiated. There is no restriction according to the birth or the gender, etc. So then Prabhupada is quoting from 932 also, where Lord Krishna is saying that those who take shelter of the Lord, whether they are of lower birth, they are women, Vaishyas, Shudras, anyone, they can also attain the supreme destination. So Krishna Bhakti is not something that is limited only to Brahmanas or Kshatriyas. That point is explained. Then Prabhupada is explaining that if one actually really desires to serve Krishna, then it doesn't matter what caste one is or what gender one is coming from. If they are sincerely eager to chant the Hare Krishna mantra or Diksha mantra, then one is qualified to be initiated according to the Pancharatrika process. So whether it is Shudras, women, etc., they are not admitted in the Vedika tradition. They don't get initiation there. But Pancharatrika Vidhi is different, and it is a Vedika Vidhi. Sorry, whether it is Vedika Vidhi or it is Pancharatrika Vidhi, Prabhupada is saying that in any case, the result is the same. So we should not think that just because Pancharatrika Vidhi allows women and other people from any caste, that it is lower in any way. It's not that. It is also very, very powerful Vidhi. And whether, we are following Pancharatrika Vidhi or Vedika Vidhi, Prabhupada says the result is the same. And Prabhupada has very kindly given us the Pancharatrika Vidhi. He has never, Prabhupada, we see, he didn't make any discrimination, which country one person was coming from, which caste, which gender. He even gave Brahman initiation to Matajis. And some people even criticized Prabhupada that how could you give Brahman Diksha to Mlechas, people from the Western countries. When he came to India, Prabhupada was also criticized for this. But Prabhupada was following the scriptures, and according to the scripture, what is Krishna saying? That one has to be sincere, one has to be devoted. And that is all Prabhupada saw. Other things were not important. So, seeing the sincerity, their desire to serve Krishna, Prabhupada gave initiations, right? And that is the Vidhi that is being followed currently also in ISKCON. Then about mantra siddhi adi shodhana, the efficacy of the mantra. So here Prabhupada is stating from his Guru Maharaj that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given 16 divisions which are confirmed from Hari Bhakti Vilas. What are the 16 divisions? They are Siddha, Sadhya, Susiddha, Ari. These are 4 principles, can be further divided into Siddha, Siddha Siddha, Siddha Sadhya, Siddha Susiddha, Siddha Ari, Sadhya Siddha, Sadhya Sadhya, Sadhya Susiddha, Sadhya Ari, Susiddha Siddha, Susiddha Sadhya, Susiddha Susiddha, Susiddha Ari, Ari Siddha, Ari Sadhya, Ari Susiddha, and Ari Ari. Okay, so these are different classifications that are given in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Then those who are initiated with the 18 syllable mantra do not need to consider the above mentioned 16 divisions. So these are all the technicalities that have been mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. As we see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatan Goswami to, giving him different points about which he could write, and he has indeed written all these things in his book. There is Shodhana or purification of the mantra, but there is no such consideration for the Krishna mantra. Right? Prabhupada is saying that the Krishna mantra is so strong that there is no question of Shodhana, right? Purification of the mantra. Because see, the Vedic mantras, there was a particular way to chant them, there was a particular level of purification necessary before chanting of the mantra. Also, there were some things of purification that had to be done, but no such restrictions in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then about initiation, Diksha, Prabhupada is saying that one should consult Madhya Lila 1508. On the whole, when a person is initiated according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi, he has already attained the position of a Brahmana, and this is enjoined in the Haribhakta Vilas also. Like the description is given that as bell metal can be turned into gold when treated with mercury, a disciple initiated by a bona fide guru immediately attains the position of a Brahmana. So one's birth is not of importance. It is the dedication of the disciple. And then when the guru accepts the disciple, like bell metal can be turned to gold, so an initiated disciple attains the position of a Brahman. Then, as far as the time of Diksha is concerned, everything depends on the position of the guru. As soon as a bona fide guru is received by chance or by a program, one should immediately take the opportunity to receive initiation. Okay, then Prabhupada is quoting from the book Tattva Sagara, where it is mentioned that if by chance one gets a Sadguru, it doesn't matter whether one is in the temple or the forest. If the Sadguru, the bona fide spiritual master, agrees, one can be initiated immediately without waiting for a suitable time or place. And this we see in the life of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He used to go to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji again and again because Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had told him that he is the right guru for you. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so committed that this is going to be my guru. He is going to be my guru. He would go to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji again and again. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji was an avadhut. So he was like, I don't accept any disciples and you are so qualified. You are Saraswati Thakur. People have given you this title. I am an illiterate. Why do you want to get Diksha from me? And in this way, it went back and forth many times. But then one particular day, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that if you don't accept me now, Gurudev, then there is no point in me living. All my qualification, my life itself is of no use. So I'll just go on top of a hill and jump in Mother Ganga. And then, this was just a very sweet exchange between him and his Guru Maharaj, and Gaur Das Babaji Maharaj then and there told him that, okay, you go take a bath in Ganga and I'm going to give you initiation right now. So it is that moment when the Guru and the disciple, they have that kind of connect. Then Pratha Smriti, remembrance of Lord in the morning, in the early morning hours. So this is what Prabhupada has taught all of us also, that we should get up early, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, or at least Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. In this way, one should remember Krishna, and some shlokas should also be chanted in the morning. By chanting, one immediately becomes auspicious and transcendental to the infection of material qualities. Actually, one has to chant and remember the Lord 24 hours daily or as much as possible. And then this quotation is given, which means that Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of these two principles. So that's what our seniors have also taught us, right? That if we chant early in the morning, then it acts like an anesthesia, because ultimately we have to spend our day doing a lot of different activities, meeting a lot of different people. Not everything that we are doing may be Krishna conscious, right? We have different kind of responsibility. We'll be meeting different type of peoples. But if we have chanted in the morning, then we have that covering, or that protection of the Lord's holy name. And then that protects us from falling into Maya. So that's why, that this remembrance of the Lord is so very important, because that is what actually protects us from getting enamored by Maya. We meet so many different people, we see so many things during the day. So, to protect our consciousness during the day, it is very important that we chant and remember the Lord early in the morning. And Prabhupada has given us such a beautiful morning program where we are worshipping our Guru Maharaj, where we are worshipping the beautiful form of Lord Govinda. We are reciting the Tulsi prayers, Tulsi Maharani's worship is being done, and then Narsimha Pranam is being done. In this way, if we are doing this morning program very nicely, very sincerely, then our consciousness is right. And when we go on and deal with the different duties during the day, our consciousness is still protected. But not just that, apart from that we have to do very nicely. But other than that, also, we have to try and make our entire day Krishna conscious, so that, there is no chance for Maya to overtake us, because Maya is so strong. It is Krishna's Maya. So, through all these different activities of reading, attending classes, chanting more and more, singing bhajans, hearing classes, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord. In this way, we have to make our house a place, or our office a place, and our daily schedule in such a way that we are thinking of Krishna more and more. Our remembrance of the Lord is increased more and more. Then in the last paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is saying that the word Prata Kritya in the present verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita means that one should evacuate early in the morning, regularly in the morning, and then cleanse himself by taking a bath. One has to gargle, that is to achaman, brush his teeth. Then he should do this either with twigs or toothbrush, whatever is available. This will purify the mouth. Then one has to take a bath. And then Prabhupada explains that for householders and vanprasthas, at least, 2 times a day bathing is required, and for sannyasis, 3 times. Brahmachari may take only one bath a day. Whenever one is not able to bathe in water, like say for example when one is traveling or something like that, then he can bathe by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. One also has to perform his Sandhyadi Vandana, that is, one has to chant his Gayatri mantra 3 times daily, morning, noon, and evening. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya is has given very important pointers to Sanatan Goswami. And Prabhupada so beautifully, so patiently he has explained in the purport that, for accepting the Krishna mantra, there are not so many rules and regulations. It is very, very simple. Even a Chandala can be a Brahmin just by, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Then importance of Sadguru is explained, importance of morning sadhana, morning chanting is explained. And Mahaprabhu in this way has given clues to Sanatan Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami expands on that in his book. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
This Gayatri mantra can be chanted only by Brahmanical initiated people, no?
Yes, Mataji, the Guru has to give that mantra.
Yeah,
Then
so we can't just chant only first initiation, you cannot do it.
no, Mataji, that Brahman Diksha has to be.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, Mataji. Okay, let's go to 332. Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
दंडधावना स्नान संध्यादि वंदन गुरु सेवा ऊर्ध्व पुंड्र चक्रादि धारण. Translation based on Krishna Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You should describe how in the morning one should regularly brush his teeth, take his bath, offer prayers to the Lord, and offer obeisances to the spiritual master. You should also describe how one should render service to the spiritual master and paint one's body in 12 places with Urdhva Pundra, that is Tilaka, as well as how one should stamp one's body with the holy names of the Lord or the symbols of the Lord, such as a disc and a club. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So the Lord is explaining different activities. And as we are reading this, we have to understand that Lord Chaitanya just did not describe the philosophy. He is explaining the whole culture, how our different activities during the day should be. So he is giving all these very, very important pointers to Srila Sanatana Goswami. Okay, let's move forward. Arun Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Tanvat Pranam.
Tanvat Pranam.
Gopi Chandana Malya Dhriti Tulasi Aharna Vastra Pitha Griha Samskara Krishna Prabodhana. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After this, you should describe how one should decorate his body with Gopi Chandan, wear neck beads, collect tulsi leaves from the tulsi tree, cleanse his cloth and the altar, cleanse his own house or apartment, and go to the temple and ring the bell just to draw the attention of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So these are all daily activities that we have to perform, and as you know, Prabhupada really stressed on cleanliness a lot. And see, all these things are coming. These are all instructions from the Lord that our house should be clean, because we have to understand that this is a temple of the Lord. It's not that just one area of the house where our deities or photos of Lord Krishna are, only we'll clean that part. No, that means, if we do that, then devotees say that means that you are asking the Lord that, okay, you just have to stay here. But if we really have that feeling that Lord is here and this house belongs to the Lord, then the Lord will move around the house also, right? And if the Lord is moving around the house, then that means that every nook and corner of the house should be kept clean. If we really have that faith that the Lord is there and He's going to move around the house. So in this way, we have to clean the temple area, our house, apartment, everything should be clean. How we have to put tilak, wear neck beads, collect tulsi leaves from the tulsi tree. In this way, the worship of Lord Krishna is to be done, and ring the bell so that the attention of Lord Krishna comes. Okay. Let's go to the next verse. Dr. K. Karpagavali Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandatna. Panchasad Upakare Archana Panchakale Puja Aarti Krishnare Bhojana Sayana. Translation by Prabhupada also describes deity worship wherein one should offer food to Krishna at least 5 times daily and then due time place him on a bed. You should also describe the process for offering arti and the worship of the Lord according to the list of 5, 16, or 50 ingredients. Purport shall I read, Mataji?
I'll read Mataji because there are many points, so I'll
Long
read
purport, no?
Yeah, I'll read
Okay.
Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you, Mataji. So, about deity worship now, where Lord is saying that one should offer food to Krishna at least 5 times daily. In temples, actually, this standard is followed. And then putting the Lord to rest, offering arti and worship of the Lord. So, Prabhupada is very kindly, very patiently explaining all these items to us. The list of 5, 16, or 15 ingredients Prabhupada is explaining. So first of all, the 5 ingredients for deity worship, they are very good scents, very good flowers, incense, lamp, and something edible. As for Shodashopachara, the 16 ingredients, one should provide a sitting place, asan, that is the sitting place to the Lord. Then one should ask Krishna to sit down, offer arghya, offer water to wash the legs of the Lord, wash the mouth, offer madhuparka, offer water for washing the mouth, bathe the Lord, offer garments to the Lord, decorate the Lord's body with ornaments, offer sweet scents to the Lord, offer flowers with good fragrance like the rose or champaka, offer incense, offer a lamb, give good food, and offer prayers to the Lord. So 5 and 16 items are mentioned. Then Prabhupada explains that in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, 11th Vilas, verses 127 to 140, there is a vivid description of what is required in deity worship, and there are 64 items mentioned. So Prabhupada is saying that, in the temple, worship should be so gorgeous that all the 64 items should be available for the satisfaction of the Lord. But sometimes it is not possible to get all these items daily. So then Prabhupada says that at least on the first day of installation, all the 64 items should be made available. And as far as possible, worship with all these items should continue. Then Prabhupada is explaining what are these 64 items. So, firstly, the bell hanging in the front of the temple room so that whoever comes into the room can ring the bell. Now, devotees explain that this is, we generally have this in many temples. This is very important because as one rings the bell, whoever hears the sound of the bell, they may be engrossed in materialistic thoughts, but as soon as the sound of the bell comes, one's consciousness gets alert. That bell itself reminds one of the Lord. So even if one is not ringing the bell himself or herself, but whenever the sound of the bell comes, everyone who is hearing is reminded of the Lord. So that is a very important thing. Then the visitor must chant Jai Shri Radha Govinda, Jai Shri Radha Madhav. We should always chant like this. All glories to the deity when the bell is rung. Then in either case, Jai, at least, the word Jai must be uttered. Then one should immediately offer obeisances to the Lord, falling down like a stick. That is what is Dandavat, right? We fall down like a stick. There must be regular Mangal Aarti in the temple during the early morning, an hour and a half before the sun rises. There must be asana, a sitting place before the altar. This asana is for the spiritual master. The disciple brings everything before the spiritual master, and the spiritual master offers everything to the Supreme Lord. So, whenever we are offering anything to the Lord, we should always have this consciousness that this service is rendered on behalf of my Guru Maharaj. We should always remember that. And so the asana of the Guru should be there, and everything is brought to the Guru, and we should have that consciousness that the spiritual master is actually offering everything to Lord Krishna. Then, after the Mangal Aarti, the deity is supposed to wash his teeth by using a twig. Therefore, a twig must be offered. Then, water must be offered for washing the deity's feet. Argya should be offered, water for achaman should be offered, and madhuparka, that means a small bowl containing madhu, a little madhu, that is honey, a little ghee, water, a little sugar, yogurt, and milk should be offered. This is called madhuparka achaman. Then one should place wooden slippers before the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord with oil. Then, with a soft, wet sponge, one should remove all the oil smeared over the Lord's body. Then, the Lord's body should be bathed with water, which is nicely scented, having been soaking for some time, with scented flowers. Then, after bathing of the Lord with water, one should bathe him with milk. Then, one should bathe him with yogurt. Then one should bathe him with ghee, then honey, then water in which sugar has been dissolved, and then one should wash the deity with water and chant this mantra. So this is the Abhishekam sequence that is mentioned. And this mantra has to be chanted. Chintamani prakarasatma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira bipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata samrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So then the 22nd item is that one should dry the entire body of the Lord with a towel, then new dress is put on the Lord, sacred thread is placed on the Lord's body, Water is offered for cleansing his mouth, achaman. Then nicely scented oils like liquid sandalwood pulp should be smeared over the Lord's body. Then ornaments are placed on the Lord's body, then flower garlands, decorative flowers. Then incense should be burnt, lamps should be offered. These are 30 items. So these are, these wonderful services are done in the temple, the sequences followed in the temples. Then precautions should always be taken so that demons and atheists cannot harm the body of the Lord. Food offerings are then placed before the Lord. Spices for chewing should be offered. Betel nuts should be offered. At the proper time, there should be arrangements so that the Lord may take rest in the bed. The Lord's hair should be combed and decorated. First class garments should be offered. A first class helmet should be offered. The garments should be scented. There should be costable jewels and other ornaments offered. So these are all about ornaments and dresses. And then a variety of flowers should be offered to the Lord. Another Mangalarti should be offered. Mirror should be offered. The Lord should be carried on nice palanquin to the altar. The Lord should be seated on the throne. Again, water should be given for the washing of his feet. Something again should be offered for eating. Okay, so these are all done in the morning. Then morning and then afternoon also. Then evening aarti should be offered. The Lord should be fanned with a charmer fan and an umbrella placed above his head, over his head. The Hare Krishna mantra and approved songs should be sung. Musical instruments should be placed. One should dance before the deity. So, see, as we are reading, I'm sure we are getting these visions of the deities in our beautiful ISKCON temples, right? How beautifully they are decorated, how wonderfully they are offered bhoga. And then we see that, singing before the Lord, that carries on, that is done throughout the day. And dancing before the deity, all these are important services that have to be performed for the deities. Then one should circumambulate the deity, one should again offer obeisances, one should offer different types of prayers and hymns at the Lord's feet. Lord's lotus feet. One should touch the lotus feet of the Lord with one's head. And this may not be possible for everyone, but at least the pujari should do this. Then the flowers offered on the previous day should touch one's head. One should take remnants of the Lord's food. One should sit before the Lord and think that he's massaging the Lord's legs. One should decorate the Lord's bed with flowers before the Lord takes rest. One should offer one's hand to the Lord. Then one should take the deity to his bed. Then one should wash the feet of the Lord and then sit him on the bed. And then one should place the Lord on the bed and massage his feet. Then Prabhupada is explaining that Aarti should be to the deities should be done 5 times daily, early in the morning before sunrise, that is Mangal Aarti, later in the morning, that is Shringar Aarti, at noon time, then in the evening and at night. This means that there should be worship and a change of dress and flowers. As far as the eatables are concerned, all items should be first class preparations. There should be first class rice, dal, fruits, sweet, rice, vegetables, and a variety of foods to be sucked, drunk, and chewed. All the eatables offered to the deities should be extraordinarily excellent. In Europe and America, there is presently no monetary scarcity. People are not poor. And if they follow these principles of deity worship, they will advance in spiritual life. As far as placing the deity in the bed is concerned, if the deity is large and heavy, then Prabhupada says that, it will be difficult to move the deities every time. So that's why we have the small deities, and they are also worshipped and they are taken to the bed, the Utsav deities. This mantra should be chanted when the Lord is being taken to the bed. This mantra should be chanted. Agacha Shayana Sthanam Priyabhi Sah Keshava. O Keshav, kindly come to your bed along with Srimati Radharani. This is again from 1140 Hari Bhakti Vilas. The deity should be placed in bed with Srimati Radharani, and this should be indicated by bringing the wooden slippers from the altar to the bedside. Okay, so we are requesting the Lord that now come and sleep on the bed, my Lord. When the deity is laid down, his legs should be massaged. Before laying the deity down, a pot of milk and sugar should be offered to him. After taking this thick milk, the deity should lie down and should be offered betel nuts and spices to chew. So this beautiful description, in the way in which the deities are worshipped, and it is so beautiful. Just reading through it is so amazing, right? And we can just imagine how when these wonderful services are being offered to the deities, that would be so amazing. And that's why the environment in the temples is so spiritually surcharged, because all these services are being rendered so wonderfully. According to time, place, and circumstances, there may be some differences in the standards from one temple to the other, but these are the guidelines that have been given for deity worship. Okay. Now let's go
Mataji,
to
when they say another Mangal Aarti should be offered, that is what time? Is 7 o'clock or that Govinda,
Mataji, I think
Purusha?
no, Mataji, I think that's the Shringar Aarti. Mangal Aarti, then all these things are done, dressing and everything, and then Shringar Aarti is offered.
Yeah, so Shringar Aarti only they say no Govinda, the Purusha,
Yes,
the
Mataji. That,
Mahambajami. Yeah,
yes, Mataji. That is Shringara.
yeah, okay, Mataji, thank you.
Okay, 335. Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
Pranam Mataji.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Sri Murti Lakshana, Arasala Grama Lakshana, Krishna Kshetra Yatra, Krishna Murti Darshana. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The characteristics of the deities should be discussed, as well as the characteristics of the Saligrama Shila. You should also discuss visiting the deities in temple and touring holy places like Vrindavana, Mathura, and Dwaraka. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Mahaprabhu is telling Srila Sanatana Goswami that you should talk about deities and Shaligram Shila also. And this is the guideline for us also, right? That even if we are not able to visit the temple every day, then at least once a week we should go. And we are encouraged to go to holy places, dhams, Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, etc. Right? So, those are the guidelines. Okay, now let's go to 336. Yes. Arun Prabhu? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Nama
Krishna.
Mahima Nama Pradha Dure Varajana Vaishnava Lakshana Seva Pradha Khandana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You should glorify the holy name and explain that one must carefully give up offenses when chanting the holy name. You should also describe the symptoms of a Vaishnava and explain that one must give up or nullify all kinds of seva prad offenses in deity worship. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the Lord is saying that the holy name should be glorified, and we should give up the offenses against the chanting of the holy name. And then also about Vaishnavas, the symptoms of Vaishnavas, and how we should give up all kinds of seva aparat, that are offenses in deity worship. So Prabhupada explains that every sadhaka should be very careful to avoid the 10 offenses, and that is why we should chant those 10 offenses, read the 10 offenses every morning so that we are alert while chanting. Then, if a devotee very strictly follows the methods of deity worship, he will naturally and quickly become a pure Vaishnava. A pure Vaishnava has unflinching faith in the Lord, and he does not deviate at all. He's always engaged in perfect deity worship. So performing the deity worship with alertness and keeping the standards in mind is very, very important. Then the offenses against deity worship are going to be mentioned. And Prabhupada is saying that these are mentioned in Skanda Puran, spoken by Vyasdev himself. One should liquidate all kinds of offenses, and we'll read about the offenses shortly. Then about worship of Shaligram Shila. Shaligram Shila should be worshipped with Tulsi, where a sufficient quantity of Tulsi leaves are available. And Prabhupada is saying that this should be introduced in all ISKCON temples. Shaligram Shila is the form of the Lord's mercy. And to worship, the Lord with all the 64 items may be a difficult job. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning. But the Lord has become so small. Shaligram Shilas are so small, right? That anyone can, and anyone in any temple can carefully handle deity worship simply by performing the same activities with the Shaligram Shila. Prabhupada is mentioning about the worship of Shaligram Shila. Then the 32 offenses to the deity that should be avoided. This is also given in the Nectar of Devotion. So very important. We can all, try to remember so that we can avoid these offenses. One should not enter the temple in a vehicle. Shoes and slippers should be removed before entering the temple. One should offer obeisances as soon as he sees the deity. And one should enter the temple after taking a bath. In other words, one should be very clean. Yeah, so our vehicle should be stopped outside the temple. Our shoes should be left outside. We should have taken a bath. We should enter the temple in a clean state. One should not offer obeisances to the Lord with one hand. So, for example, sometimes what happens is devotees may have their bead bag in one hand or a book in one hand or any bag or something, but we should put that aside and obeisances should be offered with both hands. One should not circumambulate demigods before the deities. One should not spread his legs before the deity. One should not sit down before the deity with his legs crossed, nor should one touch his legs with his hands. One should not lie down before the deity. One should not eat before the deity. One should not speak lies before the deity. One should not speak very loudly before the deity. One should not talk nonsense before the deity. One should not cry before the deity. One should not deal with others before the deity. So all activities before the deity should be about, devotion and that kind of topic. So any kind of other dealings should not be happening before the deities. One should not utter harsh words before the deity. One should not cover himself with a blanket. One should not talk enviously of others before the deity. One should not praise others before the deity. One should not use slang before the deity, not pass air before the deity, not neglect the 64 items of deity worship. We should not eat anything not offered to the deity. We should not neglect offering seasonal fruits as soon as they are available. So, as soon as seasonal fruits are available, we should offer them to the deity. One should always offer fresh, untouched fruit to the deity. One should not sit with one's back to the deity. We should not offer obeisances to others before the deity. One should not sit near the deity without taking the spiritual master's permission. One should not be proud to hear himself praised before the deity. One should not blaspheme the demigods. One should not be unkind to others before the deities. One should observe all festivals in the temple and one should not fight or quarrel before the deity. So these principles are very, very important. We should take care of these because if we don't, then we'll be committing seva aparadha, that is offense to the deities.
Mata, this number 7, what is it? One should not sit down before the deity with his legs crossed. Crossed
Yes,
means
Mataji,
normally
so
we
the
sit the
legs,
normal way. No?
yeah, Mataji, the legs should not be exposed to the Lord. That's why when we sit, we should cover our legs. So, just in front of the deities, there is one way now where we cross our legs and our legs are touching the floor. That is one way. Then there is another way where we cross our legs in such a way that the legs are pointing towards the deities. That is what we should not do.
Okay.
Should try to cover our legs
Yeah,
when we
yes.
sit in front
Thank
of the
you.
deities. These two things we have to be
Okay,
careful.
thank you, Mata.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay, so now let's go to the next verse. Padma Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Shankajagata Pushpa Dhupadi Lakshana Shapastuti Parikrama Dandavat Vandana. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. The items of worship such as water, conch shell, flowers, incense, and lamp should be described. You should also mention chanting softly, offering prayers, circumambulating, and offering obeisances. All these should be carefully described. But all these are mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. The 8th Vilasa of that book should be consulted as far as possible. Thank you, Mataji. Pranams.
So these are the items of worship, right? When the arati is being performed, there is water, conch shell, flowers, incense, lamp. So that's what Mahaprabhu is saying that these should be described. Then you should also mention chanting softly, offering prayers, circumambulating, offering obeisances. All these should be carefully described. See, if we follow these regulations, of avoiding offenses to deities, then our respect for the deities increases, and then our relationship with the deities becomes better. Right? We see that the Lord is actually present, and that is why it's important to follow these regulations. Okay. Yeah. Krishnamurti Prabhu, next verse, 338.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
पुरुषश्चरण विधि कृष्ण प्रसाद भोजन अनिवेदित त्याग वैष्णव निंदा वैष्णव निंदादि वर्जन. Translation Ekshi Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Other items you should prescribe are the method of performing Purusha taking Krishna Prasadam, giving up unoffered food, and not blaspheming the Lord's devotees. Purport reading the Vaishnava Ninda, Sri Madhya Lila 15.261. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So all these different things that should and should not be done regarding taking Krishna Prasadam, not blaspheming any devotees, those also are to be mentioned. That's what Mahaprabhu is instructing. Now let's go to 339. Uma Mataji, Uma Kulkarni Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
साधु लक्षण साधु संग साधु सेवना असत्संग थागाश्री भगवतार श्रवणा. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Vijay. You should describe the symptoms of a devotee, how to associate with the devotees, how to satisfy a devotee by rendering service, and how to give up the association of non-devotees. You should also explain the value of regularly hearing the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So till now Mahaprabhu was talking about deity worship, and now he is going to tell about dealings with Vaishnavas also. How to deal with devotees, that is going to be described. Okay. Yeah, 340. Padma Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Tena Paksha Kritya Ekadasi Adi Vivarana Masa Kritya Janmashtami Adi Vidhi Vicharana. You should describe the ritualistic duties to be performed every day. And you should also describe the fortnightly duties, especially how to observe the fortnightly Ekadasi fast. You should also describe the duties to be observed every month, and you should also specially describe the observance ceremonies like Janmashtami, Ramanavami, and Narasimha Chaturdasi. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So daily activities, fortnightly activities, and the observance of important days, all this is to be mentioned. So observing Ekadashi fast, which comes every fortnight, and then also describe duties to be observed every month, observance of ceremonies like Janmashtami, Ram Navami, Narasimha Chaturdashi. So all these are very important in the life of a devotee. Okay, now let's go to 341. Yeah. Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Ekadashi Janmashtami, Vamana Dwadashi, Sri Rama Navami, Ara Narsimha Chaturdashi. Translation Veshi Bhakti and Prabhupada ki jai. Ekadashi Janmashtami, Vamana Dwadashi, Rama Navami, and Narsimha Chaturdashi. All these should be described. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So the Lord is stressing that, all these important days like Janmashtami, Vaman Dwadashi, Ram Navami, Narsimha Chaturdashi, they are very important to be observed. That's why in all our temples, all our centers of preaching, these days are celebrated very nicely. Okay. Yeah, 342, Uma Devi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Eisabe vidatyaga avidhakarana akarane dosha kele bhakti rambhana. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You should recommend the avoidance of mixed Ekadashi and the performance of pure Ekadashi. You should also describe the fault in not observing Ekadashi. One should be very careful as far as these items are concerned. If one is not careful, one will be negligent in executing devotional service. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So that beautiful bhajan, Krishna Bhakata Charana Renu, I'm sure all of you have heard. And in that, this line comes that Madhav Tithi Bhakti Janani, Prema Latikara Mula. So all these important days are Bhakti Janani. Ekadashi is Bhakti Janani. So it should be very, strictly observed. And that's why Mahaprabhu is saying that one should be very careful as far as these items are concerned. And if one is not careful, one will be negligent in executing devotional services. So, very important to observe these important days.
Mataji, what is mixed Ekadasi?
Yeah, Mataji, I think it is that day when the Tithi is probably the Dashmi and Ekadashi are falling on the same day, something like that, I think. Because when we see the calendar also, na, the lunar calendar,
Yeah.
the fast that we do, the Vaishnavas do, is generally the second day. So that the Ekadashi Dwadashi day is fine, but I think the Dashmi Ekadashi, that mixed, is probably not allowed. So that's why we don't fast on that day. Smartas fast on the previous day. The Vaishnavas are always fasting on the next day. That is my understanding, Mataji. But
So
I'll confirm.
we go as per the ISKCON calendar, right?
Yes,
So that's
Mataji. Yeah, ISKCON calendar is, and if you see both the calendars, ISKCON is always on the second day. So we just follow
yeah.
that. For us, it's not there is no
Yes,
confusion.
yes, Mataji.
But I'll check, Mataji. 343. Mataji, you want to read? Padma Mataji.
Krishna. May I read?
Okay, Mataji.
Okay, Padma Mataji, read.
Okay,
Okay.
Mataji. सर्वत्र प्रेमानदीपे पुराणवचन श्रीमूर्ति विष्णु मंदिराकरण लक्षण. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Whatever you say about Vaishnava behavior, the establishment of Vaishnava temples and deities and everything else should be supported by evidence from the Puranas. Thank you, Mataji. Pranams.
Krishna. So that's what Mahaprabhu is saying, that all these instructions that you give, you always support them with references from the scriptures, the authorized scriptures, because people will have doubts. But our Puranas, our other prescribed scriptures, they have these details. So always use that reference. Mahaprabhu is saying. Yeah, Lalita Vinodini Mataji. Sorry, Mataji, I didn't see your hand raised in the previous verse. Hare Krishna.
सामान्य सदाचरण आर वैष्णव आचार कर्तव्य सभा स्मार्त व्यवहार. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You should give general and specific descriptions of the behavior and activities of a Vaishnava. You should outline things that are to be done and things that are not to be done. All this should be described as regulations and etiquette. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So these are all Vaishnav etiquettes, right? The things that a Vaishnav should do and things that we should refrain from. So Vaishnav etiquettes need to be mentioned. Okay. Yes, Arun Prabhu, next verse.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी
Hare Krishna.
ए संक्षेप से सूत्र कहिलु दिगदर्शन याबे तुमी लिखिबा कृष्ण कराबे स्फुरना. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. I have thus given a synopsis of the Vaishnava regulative principles. I have given this in brief just to give you a little direction. When you write on this subject, Krishna will help you by spiritually awakening you. Hare Krishna. Maharaj.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. So Sanatan Goswami, in his humility, had earlier said that I'm not qualified to write, and he had requested for Mahaprabhu's blessings. And Mahaprabhu is saying that I have given you this brief synopsis, and you write on this subject. Krishna will help you. So he's saying that Krishna will bless you. And Prabhupada is explaining that one cannot write about spiritual matters without being blessed by the Lord and the disciplic succession of gurus. And that is what we see in Prabhupada's life also. He was not taking any credit. He was always giving all credit to his Guru Maharaj and the previous acharyas. So Prabhupada is saying that one should not try to write anything about Vaishnava behavior and activities without being authorized by superior authorities. No, evam parampara praptam Bhagavad Gita quote also Prabhupada gives. Yeah. Now let's go to 346. Uma Devi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. यही त कहिलु प्रभुर सनातने प्रसाद यह श्रवणे चित्तेरा खांडे अवसादा. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus I have narrated Lord Chaitanya's mercy upon Sanatana Goswami. When one hears these topics, one's heart will be cleansed of all contamination. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So the narration, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is summarizing that he has narrated Lord Chaitanya's mercy upon Sanatan Goswami, and when one hears these topics, one heart will be cleansed of all contamination. Okay, Krishnamurti Prabhu, next verse, 347.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी.
Hare Krishna.
निज ग्रंथे कर्णपुरा विस्तार करिया सनातने प्रभुरा प्रसादा राखिया चे लिखिया. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. The authorized poet Kavikarna Pura has written a book named Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka. This book tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Sanatana Goswami with a specific mercy. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So the book Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka is mentioned here. Yeah. Let's go to the next verse, 348. So we're on a different meter. Would someone like to read?
Shall I read only purport, Mataji? A translation, I mean.
You want to read the verse also, Mataji? Just
I
like
can't.
a shloka. It will not be
Mataji,
this.
can I do the
Yes,
shloka?
yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Unmute
Mataji,
yourself.
please.
Hare
Please,
Krishna.
please. Yes.
गौडेन्द्रस्या शभा विभूषणा मनिस्त्याक्त्वाय ऋतां श्रियम् रूपस्याग्रज एष एव तरुणीं वैराग्यलक्ष्मीं ददाये अन्तर्भक्तिरसेन पूर्णा हृदयो बाये वधूताकृतिः शैवालैपिहितं महासरैव प्रीतिप्रदस्तद्विदाम्. Could not catch it, Mataji. Difficult. Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Fine, Mataji.
Thank you.
So, translation Srila Sanatan Goswami, the elder brother of Srila Rupa Goswami, was the most important minister in the government of Hussain Shah, the ruler of Bengal, and he was considered a most brilliant gem in that assembly. He possessed all the opulences of a royal position, but he gave up everything just to accept the youthful goddess of renunciation. Although he externally appeared to be a mendicant who had renounced everything, he was filled with the pleasure of devotional service within his heart. Thus, he can be compared to a deep lake covered with moss. He was the object of pleasure for all the devotees who knew the science of devotional service. This and the following two verses are from Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak 9:34, 35, 38. So, this is about Sanatan Goswami, how he was a very important minister, but he gave up everything for the bhakti of Lord Krishna. And why is it compared to a lake? Why is this compared to a lake covered with moss? Because when a lake is covered with moss, we don't really see the water. All we see is that green moss on top. So Srila Sanatan Goswami on top was just, he was like a minister doing his work, but actually internally he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Okay. Just take a few more minutes. We'll try to complete this chapter. Let's go to the next verse. Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Tam sanatam upagatam. Tam sanatanam upagatam makshno drishta matram atimatra dayardriha alinda parigaya tadodhyam sanukampam atachampaka gauraha. Translation by Zivendra Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As soon as Sanatana Goswami arrived in front of Lord Chaitanya, the Lord, seeing him, became merciful to him. The Lord, who has the complexion of golden champaka flower, opened his arms and embraced him while expressing great affection. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is beautiful interaction between Lord Chaitanya and Srila Sanatan Goswami. Mataji, you want to read this one also? 350.
कालेन वृन्दावन केलिवार्त लुप्तेति तां ख्यापयितुं विशिष्य कृपामृतेनाभिशिषे च देवस् तत्रैव रूपं च सनातनं च. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the course of time, the transcendental news of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavana was almost lost. To enunciate explicitly those transcendental pastimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami with the nectar of his mercy to carry out his work in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So Lord Chaitanya had given this very important work to Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Apart from the other instructions, this was a very important instruction to again, find out all the Lila Sthalis and to, bring them out because those were lost over a period of time. Arun Prabhu, 351.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Eita kahilu sanatane prabhura prasada yahara shravane chitera khandeya avasada. Translation by Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. I have thus explained the mercy bestowed on Sanatan Goswami by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If one hears this description, all moroseness in the heart will diminish.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is a great benediction of the Lord, great mercy of the Lord and his devotees that, these beautiful scriptures are there. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that I have thus explained the mercy bestowed upon Sanatan Goswami by Lord Chaitanya. And if one hears this description, all moroseness from the heart will diminish. That is the great mercy. Okay. Let's go to the next verse. Dr. K. Karpagugali Mataji. Hare Krishna.
52, 352. Krishna re saruba janere sagala gaya jnana vidhi raga matye sadhana bhaktera vidhana. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. By reading these instructions to Sanatana Goswami, one will become fully aware of Lord Krishna's various expansions and the process of devotional service according to the regulative principles and spontaneous love. Thus, everything can be fully known.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So the instructions of the
Mataji.
Lord Srila Sanatan Goswami are very, very extensive, very exhaustive, right? All great details have been mentioned, right? Okay,
Can I
353.
continue, Mataji?
Okay, Mataji. Okay, you can read. Yes, Mataji,
53,
please.
53. Krishna Prema Bhakti Rasa Bhakti Tira Siddhanta Ikare Shravane Bhakta Nani Sabharanta. Translation. By reading these instructions, a pure devotee can understand love of Krishna, the windows of devotional love, and the conclusion of devotional service. Everyone can understand all these things to be to their ultimate end by studying these instructions.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna. Thank
Mataji.
you, Mataji. So the Lord in these explanations, 61 explanations of the Atma Rama verse, we read that he has explained it so wonderfully, so beautifully that even if one is a karma yogi, jnani, or if he is an impersonalist also, they would also want to become a devotee. That is, that is the beauty of the exhaustive description of the Atma Rama verse by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so we just have two more verses. Uma Devi Mataji, 354.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद अद्वैत चरण यांद्र प्राणाधान से पाया धना. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The conclusion of these instructions can be known to one whose life and soul is the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, the Lord, the Lord should be all in all. That's why it's mentioned that one who is, for a person whose life and soul are the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, for them, the conclusion of these instructions can be known very easily. Now, as we are reading these instructions, we may feel that why so many rules and regulations for chanting, for deity worship, why is this required? See, this is just as an expression of love. It is not laborious when there is love. So, for a mother to take care of the child, there are so many things that the mother has to take care of, but she doesn't mind it because there is love in her heart. So, similarly, we will also not find these things laborious or difficult if we approach the Lord with love. So, these should just be an expression of our love. Okay, now the last verse of this chapter. Yeah, Padma Mataji, you want to read? And then Dr. K. Karpugali
Yeah,
Mataji, you can
Mataji.
read the translation.
Yeah.
You can just both share.
Sri Rupa Padeyar Asha Chaitanya Charita Rita Kaye Krishna Dasa. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes. Mataji, you can read the
Translation. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Dasa, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 24, describing the Atmarama verse and the Lord's mercy upon Sanatan Goswami. Okay, so thank you all so much. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Guru
Prabhupada
Maharaj.
ki jai.
Sorry, I went a little ahead of time today. Really sorry
It's
about
okay,
that.
Mataji.
Krishna. Okay, so any questions, comments, or otherwise we can close. Thank you all so much. Pancha Kalpatruvayascha. Yes, Mataji, you wanted to say something?
A very informative chapter, Mataji, and very nice and beautiful. We have learned so many things in this chapter.
Yes, Mataji, Prabhupada's purports are so beautiful. He has taken so much pain to explain everything in such detail, no?
Marama, so many things we have learned.
Yes, Atmarama only is the main, Mataji, in this chapter.
What, Mataji?
Atmarama only mean.
This chapter. Yes, Mataji. The Atmarama, yes. Okay. Thank you all so much. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Nanda ki jai.
ki jai, Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Guru Maharaj
Hare
ki jai.
Krishna. Pranams all of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
See you again
Mataji.
tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Dandavat pranam.